There's a lot of hype right now around Georgia's freshman wide receivers, and after Georgia's G-Day scrimmage, Kirby Smart had a really positive update about this very special group. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. As I've reported for a long time now, the guys that Georgia has coming in at wide receiver will immediately make that room better. I think they're already starting to do that. And while Kirby Smart said at the beginning of the spring, hey, these guys have a lot of work to do. They don't know what they're doing. They're out of shape. They've got a long way to go. Things were a little bit more positive at the end of spring. Here's what Kirby Smart had to say about his freshman wide receivers. He said, quote, yeah, they are way further ahead. That's 5 ways. That's a big deal. 5 ways. That's what he said. He said, I mean, they've come a long way. They were thrown into the fire. They've been demanded to get the call and line up. I mean, they're ahead of where our typical freshmen are because they've gone with the 2s, which I think was really important. Something we'll talk about in a second. They've got a long ways to go still. They had a little anxiety today talking about G-Day. They had a couple good plays, and I thought they should have made more, though. But they're a good group, and Tyler Williams has been hurt. We haven't been able to see him much, but that young group has made some plays for us. So I do think, what I'm hearing behind the scenes about that group is solid. They do think that they are going to help this year. I'm not saying that any of them are going to start because, as we've talked about for a while, Zachariah Branch should be a guy that gets the ball a lot. Noah Thomas brought in for a reason. Colby Young, Dylan Bell. That seems like the 4. London Humphreys has been around a little bit now. Kirby Smart talked a lot about him. You can read more about that over on Dawg Post. So they are deep and they are talented at wide receiver, but eventually they're not going to be able to keep Talon Taylor on the bench very long. He had 3 catches for 32 yards and 1 drop during G-Day, but you could see the talent is there. It's going to be tough to keep CJ Wiley on the bench. That guy had an outstanding one-handed grab in coverage on the sideline. It lit a fire into the Sanford Stadium crowd at G-Day. That was the biggest play of G-Day at that point. He wasn't wide open. He was covered really well, but he reached out, snagged a football with one hand, kept his foot in bounds. It was solid. I mean, it was an eye-opening catch where he said, okay, that's what they're looking for. That's why they went out and got CJ Wiley. Landon Roldan is a guy we continue to hear about. Brings a lot of speed, versatility to Georgia's offense. I still think he needs to add some weight, more muscle mass. I remember seeing him against East Forsyth as a senior last fall. Was really good, but I had to look for the number on the jersey to find out who he was. Just looking at him just in pads, I wouldn't have thought that's the kid that is committed to Georgia. But you watch him play, and the kid's outstanding. He was dominant as a cover corner on defense, but the kid can absolutely fly. He can run. Now, I know a lot of people are going to obviously compare him to Ladd McConkey because of how he looks and, how he runs. But I don't know if he's the route runner that Ladd McConkey is. I don't think he is yet. And I don't know if he's as explosive. He's fast, and he has some explosiveness to him. But I think people want to immediately say, oh, that's the Ladd McConkey type, right? The former 3-star who finally, Ladd McConkey didn't even have a 4-star. Landon Roldan earned one towards the end. But brings the same type of element. Thomas Blackshear is a guy that won't be here until the summer, but, I'm going to go over his numbers in a second. That might be one of the sleeper guys in Georgia's class that was underranked probably by a good bit. And Tyler Williams, a kid, just a big play machine that they signed from Florida. He's been out the entire spring with an injury. But Talon Taylor, CJ Wiley, Landon Roldan, all 3 I've heard really good things about during the spring. And I think Talon Taylor will play. I mean, he's their highest ranked guy. He was a 5-star wide receiver. I think he was the first 5-star that they signed at receiver since George Pickens. Easy to see why. He is lean. He is athletic. He's an outstanding route runner. He's explosive, can make plays down the field, strong hands, balance, the quick feet. I mean, he's fundamentally sound. Absolutely crushed his opponents up in Illinois. He caught 84 passes for 1,617 yards and 24 touchdowns as a senior. And again, he caught 3 passes for 30-plus yards during G-Day. Did have that 1 drop that I saw, but still a work in progress, right? He's a guy who should still be in high school. Same with CJ Wiley. He's a 2-time state champion at Milton. That dude does not he's not used to losing, right? He came to Athens because he knows this is a winning football program. He wants to keep winning, right? But as a senior last year for Milton, the 6'4", 210-pounder caught 62 passes for 1,122 yards and 15 touchdowns for an offense that distributes the ball well. They had Ethan Barbour at tight end who got his touches. They had a running back, TJ Lester, who really, carried that offense when they needed him to. And their quarterback, Luke Nickel, is now at Miami. But CJ Wiley was tremendous in that state championship game, and he showed those, strong hands and big playability during G-Day. This is a guy that works hard with Terrence Edwards, former Georgia wide receiver, great wide receiver, right? That's been his trainer for years. Terrence Edwards coached him at Milton, and he was there at G-Day too. So this is a guy that's only going to get better. So between Talon Taylor, CJ Wiley, I think both of them will play at some point in the fall, but it's going to be hard to climb the depth chart when you have so many really talented, experienced players in front of them. But at the end of the day, this was a group that came in, just not knowing what to do, obviously, because they were, 17, 18 years old. It should still be in high school. But the progression that they have made this spring, I think is something that Georgia fans should be really excited about. And again, Kirby Smart said way, 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 way ahead than where they were in the spring. So the progress, the development, it's not like they came in and struggled the entire time. They did get better and they did progress, and they still have 4 or 5 months in the offseason to continue working, to continue, putting on good weight, good muscle, working on themselves, doing some private workouts, working with Gunnar Stockton, trying to get better, whatever they need to do. These guys are going to do it. And I do think Thomas Blackshear, who, listen to this, he caught 47 passes as a senior for Calvary Day last fall for 1,442 yards, 17 touchdowns. That guy scored a touchdown in every single game he played last year as a senior. He's a guy who brings muscle. He is a tough guy, and he's versatile. I mean, when he has the football, he runs like a running back. So he is a receiver. He can make plays down the field, but even in the short, and the short passing game and the screen game, you get him the ball, he's running behind his pads. He's looking to run over you, right? And the kid can run. He's got good speed. I don't think he's got elite speed, but he is a tough guy to bring down too. So he's the guy who can get tough yards. He falls forward at the end when he's, getting tackled. But he's a guy that Georgia really likes a lot, and he was really, really good as a senior. I couldn't find Landon Rolden's the numbers, his stats from last year. I thought I had them in my notes, couldn't find them. I'll get them and put them up over on Dawg Post, but he's a big play guy who can stretch the field, no doubt about it. And if he continues to add more muscle, add more mass, I think he'll eventually see the field in some capacity. Maybe they have a package for him. He's a guy that they can, give a sweep to, one of those end arounds, right? Just get that kid the ball. He can really run. And then Tyler Williams, a guy that every time he makes a catch, it's big. It's down the field. He caught only 30 passes for Armwood last year for just under 800 yards, 10 touchdowns, averaged 26 and a half yards a catch. 26 and a half yards a catch. Get that guy the football more. I mean, he didn't light up the stat sheet during high school, but you look at what he did with his catches, really, really impressive. He's got good size, about 6'1", around that 200-pound range. So they've got guys who can come in who already have size outside of Landon Rolden, who he's got a lean frame. He's not the smallest guy. I just think he needs to put on more muscle. But, Talon Taylor's around that 6'6", 190-pound range. He could add more muscle. That's only going to make him better. But this freshman group I've talked a lot about over the years and over the last several months, trying to tell y'all how good they are. And we got a glimpse of that during G-Day with Talon Taylor and CJ Wiley. I don't think Landon Rolden had a catch. Let me look up the numbers real quick. It doesn't. He had 1 catch for 4 yards. CJ Wiley had 2 catches for 47 yards, including that 35-yard reception down the sidelines. He had 7 targets and just 2 catches there. So, not great, but they're going to build that chemistry and that cohesiveness with the quarterbacks over time. But the talent, the potential is there. These guys are going to make a big impact at some point. I think we'll see a little bit of them here and there in the fall, especially if someone goes down. But Kirby Smart wants this group to be ready. And he said at the beginning of the spring, as expected, obviously, that they had a long way to go. But it does seem like that group, at least the guys that are there, Tyler Williams is out, but C.J. Wiley, Talon Taylor, Landon Roldan, all made strides forward this spring. And if you're a Georgia fan, you really have to like that, because I have high expectations for a lot of those guys. And I think Thomas Blackshear, when he gets to Athens in the summer, is also going to stand out in some capacity as well. So big deal. Kirby Smart had a lot of positive things to say about his freshman receivers. You can read more of that over on Dawg Post. We got a lot of content over on the website, www.dawgpost.com, dawgpost.com. I'll see you on the website.